Should start with the question, who is Chavela Vargas? She was an iconic Mexican singer. She wasn't actually born in Mexico. She was born in Costa Rica in 1919 and ran away to Mexico when she was 14 years old and lived the rest of her life, which was a very long life because she lived to the age of 93 in Mexico. She was an honorary Mexican citizen. She said Mexico gave her her life. It gave her her career. It let her breathe, which I think is a wonderful statement, to be able to breathe somewhere. It is to really exist there. She came to Mexico, as I said, 14 years old, very unschooled. She had grown up on a farm in a small town in Costa Rica. And there she was in the capital of Mexico City, Ciudad Mexico, Mexico City. And it was at a time when Mexico City was the cultural center of Latin America. It was the most happening place of all of Latin America. So here's this unschooled young kid lands, and a strange person because she was queer. And in 1919, that must have been a really uncomfortable situation to be in. Her family wasn't happy about it. She also, I think, found a freedom to be herself in Mexico. And probably because it was the most politically democratic and the most politically liberal country in all of Latin America. So it was a good place for her to land, for sure. She got a lot of jobs, as she said. And then, and this is such a great, she was obviously a very gutsy young woman because she had done a big, huge favor for some very wealthy person connected with the radio industry in Mexico City. And the person said to her, "What can I do to repay you?" And gutsy little Chavela Vargas, who was called the Petite Chica from Costa Rica, said, "I want my own radio show." Now that's really chutzpah. And she did. She got this chance to sing on the radio. And she'd been singing in the streets. She'd been singing in bars and cantinas. And she was singing music that only men sang. Traditionally, only men were singing ranchera. Ranchera was the vocal form, is the vocal form of traditional mariachi. And it's kind of like Mexican country and Western because it's filled with lots of guts and it's torch songs that are filled with lust and longing, passion, despair. I mean, these are really earthy songs with heartbreaking kinds of stories and heartbreaking kinds of lyrics. And yes, so all these guys were singing this music and they were getting drunk and crying. And here's this young girl who walks into the picture and makes the music hers. And how did she do it? She was very lucky because one of the greatest ranchera songwriters and singers of that time came to see her and loved her and thought she was brilliant. He said, "You learn how to sing my words. You learn how to live my words." So he took Chavela under his wing. He mentored her. He let her sing with him. He wrote songs for her. And, you know, people at that point just had to pay attention because she had protection. She had somebody who was giving her the permission to do this music. And then on top of that, her next big break, in a sense, is that she lands as a young girl, 18, maybe 19 years old, in the household of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, the greatest Mexican artists, or certainly two of the greatest Mexican artists. And Rivera held a very central position. Their home was a salon. It's where all the very famous politicians, artists, musicians, everybody was like there in their home, in their studio. That meant she got to meet all these people. And she, as she said, Diego was her teacher and Frida was her best friend and protector. And they taught her big ideas. Frida especially taught her how to be an artist, taught her how to live her life in an art, just as Frida was doing. Frida painted, Chavela sang and sang her feelings. So that kind of gives you some of her background, that she was just a very pushy young woman who made her way in an art field.